And we're on. We're back, aren't we?
We are back.
Look at us. We're just totally out of the loop. We don't know how to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I forget how to talk. I forget how to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look good for 2023.
That's right. It's been it hasn't been a whole year off, but we did take a little hiatus there.
Yeah,
right?
it's tough during the holidays.
No, it's fine. Nobody really wants to hear about every single horror movie.
There's nothing spookier than
No.
you're paying your credit card bill
Yeah.
around Christmas.
Yeah.
You know?
I think the real horror has been what's been floating around your house, which we've had to reschedule this a few times.
Yeah, the stomach bug is basically taking us down from January through like mid-February.
That's
so,
crazy.
you know.
3 times in a row.
Yeah.
It just kept circulating back and forth in this house. Never
Yeah.
went anywhere.
But anyway, Creeps and Creatures, we are back. Way too spooky. This is, I think, episode probably 13.
I don't know.
It's Friday.
It's number 1 of 2023.
That's right.
More importantly, so.
Yeah, but it's a good time to talk about it because this is the kind of the time of the year
Yeah.
this movie takes place.
Even though it doesn't quite feel like it here in the Northeast, it's been like 60, 65, which I'll take.
Yeah.
But this is a classic movie. It's a winter movie. I would put it up there. It's one of the best, probably the top 5 for me personally. It's
Yeah.
got The Shining with Jack Nicholson.
I think it's Stephen King's, but it was directed by Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. I did know it was Stephen King, and for me, this is I think it's one of Jack Nicholson's kind of. He had a lot of movies, but this was kind of like a staple of his career.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I think I remember not enjoying this movie because it made me so uncomfortable, and I didn't know what it was. It wasn't like a slasher movie. It wasn't like
Right.
a killer doll. It was just a sense of like being alone by yourself. And just
was-
going crazy within your mind. It's weird.
Very eerie and suspenseful, and I don't think it's a ghost movie. I mean, it is a ghost movie, but
I don't know. We'll go into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
I take it from a different perspective, but I think it's just strictly a mental illness. But I
Gotcha.
guess we'll have to jump in.
they
and see
left
how-
it up for interpretation, I
I
imagine.
think that's what it's always been, but
Yeah.
I didn't know that until I rewatched it recently. I didn't remember much of the movie at all. I remember the famous typewriter scene, and then
Yeah.
here's Johnny. But other than that, I mean, I
Yeah.
knew the gist of the movie.
Yeah.
But I didn't like analyze it and look at it too closely. So.
Yeah. I love the beginning of the movie when they're in the car and they're riding through like the mountains.
Yeah, the kid doesn't have a seatbelt on.
You could already tell Jack Nicholson just from the car ride wanted to axe his family already.
Yes, I'm glad you said that. I saw that, and his face, he didn't give a shit about what his wife or child were thinking, and then he didn't have a seatbelt on the kid. So you're thinking,
Yeah.
if they get in a car accident,
Yeah.
this kid's going right through the windshield. So
Yeah, he's tense. He's looking back. I'm like, this guy, you just knew he was going to snap.
Yeah.
Before, I don't think it had anything to do with the big hotel they were saying. I think he was just a psycho. And his wife was she the lady who played Rocky's wife? Is that the same actress?
No, she played Olive Oil in the Popeye movie.
Oh, gotcha. That's
Yeah.
where I've seen her
Shelley
before.
Duvall, yeah.
Shelley Duvall.
Yeah.
She's a very, I think she's just a nervous personality by nature.
No, I think that's just her acting style.
Yeah.
I think she's different looking when you see her. She stands out because she's just, I think,
Yeah.
and she almost looks like she plays the character very well in this movie as well. She's a good actress. Where you almost get the sense that she's either, I don't know if she's verbally or physically abused or something like that, but she just looks nervous.
She already has the long cigarette.
Yeah, always smoking the long cigarette.
Yeah.
And when he talks back to her.
Yeah.
But actually, so he gets that job right in the movie. So
He's a writer.
he's a writer, but they ask him to oversee and be the maintenance man essentially for the long winter.
Yeah.
At this massive hotel that looks like it's about to close on that day when he's doing the interview, right?
Yeah. Would you do that? I would totally take a gig like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you knew that was what's going to happen at the end. No.
Well, what if you heard you were giving him and there was always rumors that it was haunted or something like that? Could you be there with your family or even by yourself?
No, I wouldn't do that to my family. Maybe do it to myself, but I started to think about that a little bit more too. Is that you go to this big mansion and it seems all fine and great, but everything's kind of shut down, and he's just constantly having to.
It's eerie.
It's eerie. You're all by yourself in this big, but you're stuck. You're stuck in what seems like, amazing.
Yeah.
You're stuck in this big mansion, basically.
Yeah, and the whole point is I think he had a deadline, stress. He had to get another novel out. Plenty of room in that hotel, which, to his point, I understand why he was getting pissed off when his wife and kids kept interrupting him.
Yeah.
I'm not justifying anything he did, but I'm like, go hang out in the West Ring
Well, yeah.
for the next 8 hours.
Well,
just leave
that's
me
what I
alone.
was just trying to think about this past two to 3 weeks when my kids have had the stomach bug.
Yeah.
when they're home, you almost like I feel bad saying this, but I want them to either just be like on their deathbeds, not really dying, but like tired, sleeping,
Yeah.
not needing anything.
Yeah.
But once they're on the mend,
Yeah.
and you try to work, you're not getting anything done.
No, it's not possible.
Because Daddy, can you get me this? Daddy, can you get me that? You're like,
Yeah.
wow, this is, it's
There's an endless supply of food that they had for the winter.
yeah.
They had everything they needed.
It really, on paper, it sounds like an amazing gig.
Yeah.
If not, just to give it a try for a week. But I forget what they say. It's like 5 months.
Well, I think Apple Productions wants to send us to record a lot of episodes of Way Too Spooky at a big mansion, so we're gonna have to do it.
Yeah.
Alpha Productions, only real horror fans know what that is.
So let's run down a few quick facts. Everyone knows probably Jack Nicholson. He is
Yeah.
Jack Torrance. Shelley Duvall, as we mentioned, Wendy. Danny Lloyd is the little boy Danny.
Yeah.
So they were really creative with Jack and Danny's names in the movie.
Yeah.
And then Scatman Crothers.
He's like the maintenance ground crew guy.
Yeah, he actually wrote that Scatman song. I'm a Scatman.
Oh, did he?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, gotcha.
But it also it's inspired by the hotel in the movie.
Yeah.
I learned is not what it was. It was inspired by something called the Stanley Hotel,
Gotcha.
and that's the same hotel they use in 2 shots of Dumb and Dumber.
Oh,
He's like, we've landed on the
so
moon.
that's like in Aspen.
That's an actual
Colorado.
bar
Yeah.
in that hotel. And then when they pull up in like the Lamborghini,
Yeah.
with like the fur boots and he's handing out cash at
Yeah.
the front, that's what the inspiration of this movie is on, is that hotel.
Oh, that's awesome.
this book,
I
I
want to
should say.
visit it. I think I Googled it before.
Yeah.
I think it's still active.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It is. So it's that's all I could find on it. But
Yeah.
in my brief analysis, but that was pretty cool.
But definitely, especially if you're rewatching it, it really has some of the most classic scenes that have become memes. The door. I mean, just before we talk about that, you mentioned the boy, and the ground crew guy. Now they have what's known as the Shining.
The Shining.
So they could telepathically, I guess, communicate with one another.
Correct.
And so I don't know if that's supernatural, but that's. I remember that The Simpsons did a parody called The Shinin. But people sometimes remember the parody of it. But that's the whole point: is they could telepathically communicate with one another. And this hotel is haunted. Now, there's a couple key scenes that really stick out for everybody. Everyone remembers it. I'm sure you remember the twin girl scene.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I guess they were slain there before. They were killed. I think that's the idea. Is that one particular bed? I forget what room it was. 2 something.
Yeah, I forgot to write that down. I can't
Yeah.
remember. Yeah.
Just don't go-
237.
Yeah, and they had one rule: just don't go into that room.
Yeah.
There's really like 400 other rooms they could have gone into, but
Yeah.
you tell a kid don't go into that one, he's gonna go into it.
Yeah, those long shots of him riding through the hotel.
Yeah.
And it's like you think something's going to happen. They do it
Right.
like 2 or 3 times. And the first 2 times, nothing happens. It's this long shot of him riding through this big place by himself. And think of that from a perspective of a parent and your kid going and running around. You can't find your kid.
Yeah.
That's scary. That's a big place.
It's very uniquely shot, that movie.
Yeah.
They did weird, cool angles, I guess, for its time. There
Mm-hmm.
hasn't been anything like that. So I think it was just the eeriness, the music, and the camera work that kind of made this movie kind of spooky.
Yeah.
Like that scene you're talking about, the slow when Jack is really starting to lose his mind.
Yeah.
And it's just slowly zooming in on his face.
He
And he
starts-
looks wild.
He has a little like smirk on his face.
He that's where he always become one of my favorite actors because
Yeah.
I love him in this movie because he
Yeah.
looks like a Jack. And he
He-
looks like a guy who would go crazy.
Yeah.
This is pre-Joker too.
Yeah, he's an intimidating guy.
Yeah.
It's like there's something. If he was angry at me or he wanted to make me feel uncomfortable, he could probably do it real well. 'Cause he's just a. And think of all the other movies that you've seen with him in it, like you
Yeah.
said, the Joker.
Yeah.
Even The Departed. He's like the gang leader.
Yeah.
He's a bad dude.
Yeah, he
So
is.
he knows how to play a bad dude.
He was great, but I think this was the one that kind of really. I mean, he was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, all that, but this one I think was probably his most iconic role that
Right.
made him big.
Yeah.
But I loved him in it. And they didn't insinuate it, where they did insinuate it, that he's a recovering alcoholic.
Right.
So he has to be out there and not supposed to drink because I think there was an incident. Yeah, there is one time when he like hit his kid or something.
Well, so I read something. I was curious after I watched the movie because I forgot about the scene. Again, being that it had been so long since I watched it, but I think there's a part where it looks like there's a teddy bear, in a bedroom
It looks like Winnie the Pooh.
with like an old guy or
Yeah,
something.
it's like was that just blowing the butler?
Yeah, so I read about that, right? So what it is it's that's supposed to be interpreted potentially as they reference a teddy bear a few times, which I didn't pick up on.
They get him to the furry stage, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, no, but it's implying I think that Jack Nicholson had either had abused his child, with the child being the teddy bear in that scene.
Gotcha.
So he's he's not a good dude at all. Like he's snapping, but he was probably on the move to snap sooner rather than later, anyways.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't enjoy either his wife or his kid in this movie.
I saw a meme, I guess, because of course you're talking about something that just appears on your feed, and it was the scene where the teddy bear is like looking up from the bed.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, and somebody said for no reason at all, I'll just randomly think of this scene while I'm driving. I'm like, what was that about?
It is. It's a weird scene.
It sticks with you, this movie. That, of course, the blood coming out of the elevator doors.
Yeah.
Was wild. I don't know. There was no CGI. I think they just had.
No, God no.
They just had like a big crate.
Yeah, because this movie was released May 23rd, 1980, which means it was shot in the 70s probably.
Yeah.
Before it came out. So
yeah,
it's yeah, that's an unsettling. It's a very unsettling movie just in general. The long shots, the feeling of
the music.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even the groundskeeper who has the Shinin, they did the same camera work with him when they're zooming in on his face.
Yeah.
And his eyes get really wide because I think he sees something that's about to happen.
Right.
So it was the first movie I ever saw that had that eerie feeling, and like there was no. This is all pre-jump out scare type of things. Like that's the new thing now.
Right.
Is what can just like scare the shit out of you real quick.
Yeah.
Like for shock. But this one, it left you feeling a little unsettled. But
yeah, I think it's one of those movies that if you don't listen through to the entire end or watch it through the entire end, then it's not it's not a really good movie. You almost have to watch it to fruition because it's a long. It's like it's almost trying to drive you insane watching it.
What you know what the Shinin, dude.
My dog does not agree.
It's the Shinin. She knows.
Yeah.
She knows something's going on.
We'll be right back. We'll be right back.
What's your new dog's name? I totally forgot.
Ellie.
Ellie. I keep wanting to say Addie because it's the same exact dog.
Yeah.
Ellie's got the shiny, dude. She knows something's going on.
She does. This is a spooky house.
It is spooky. Look at this basement. This is easily the spookiest basement. I can't believe you subject her to this basement.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, you know, my one kid, he just started getting scared this past week and a half.
Yeah.
Because someone started talking about Bloody Mary. And I remember this feeling too as a kid. He overheard the story.
Right.
So I think all he had were his thoughts as a 7-year-old, to fill in the blanks.
Right.
And so he made this big idea out of Bloody Mary coming to get him. And so
is this new, Bloody Mary?
You never heard of Bloody Mary? Like you could spin around.
I drank a few, but
yeah. Well, there's like a Bloody Mary like folklore where I think you spin around 3 times in the dark and then you look in the mirror. She comes and she gets you. So
that's like Candyman type stuff.
Something like Candyman, right? Yeah. So at any rate, he's all scared. He's not sleeping. I'm like, kid, you do realize Michael Myers is in our basement, right?
Yeah.
No big deal.
Well, you should show him The Shining, dude. That's a good family movie.
Yeah, we'll see.
But
wait till he's 8.
So iconic scenes, probably some of the best. I was watching a behind the scenes thing when he has the axe and he's trying to axe through the door.
Yeah.
That was shot just by like a single camera. It was done in one take.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yep.
So it's the Hear Johnny thing. So my biggest takeaway from this movie is just certain scenes. My particular favorite is when he's sitting down at the bar. And the ghost bartender is having a conversation.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, this is clearly a guy who's did some brain damage. I think he drank so hard, but he's missing it so much that he's like hallucinating.
Right.
And then white man's burden was bourbon.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, this sounds a little messed up. I'm like, man, that just looks so nice to be sitting in a big oak empty bar.
Well, you probably start to, hallucinate. Yeah. If you're in a place like that and you have no one else to talk to.
And you hear things. Like big echoey place, your brain will start playing tricks on you.
Well, when Shelley Duvall comes along and she finds the typewriter and all those, like, what's the phrase he says? Like, all work, no play make Jack a dull boy, right?
Yeah. And he just kept typing away.
I mean, the idea is, if you just keep working, right? You keep working and working and working and you don't give yourself any time, you just go freaking nuts, I think. Yeah. That's probably what's happening.
Pressure for a deadline to get a book written. That, just being in that place, clearly has a past. and just the guy just had his own demons. So that's what I pretty much think it was.
Oh yeah.
But the scary, that it still freaks me out to the scene was when he went into that bedroom, and she was an attractive lady, and he starts kissing her, and then he pulls away, and she's that old.
Well, and that's what I
bag of
think. That
bones.
was the scene where I think his demons won.
Yeah.
Right. It's like he gave in to
It is
that
attractive.
temptation, and it kissed him right on the lips, and he's
That was
infected.
freaky. That was spooky.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. It reminds me of like a scene in American Horror Story. I want to say it's
Yeah.
the first season where the one maid, she, in the eyes of certain people, she was this really attractive young woman maid,
Yeah.
and yet to anyone else, she was this old woman with like a missing an eye. Like it's
Yeah.
so the one guy comes in. And I guess they don't want him to get out of the house, and the nurse like
Yeah.
performs like a sexual act on him.
Yeah.
And he looks down. It's the old woman giving it to him. So it's
Yeah.
it's very similar to that. I think
They remade The Shining. It was like straight to TV thing,
Mhm.
and that scene with the old lady was way spookier. I
Was
gotta
it?
figure it out. You ever see something that just went right to Fox?
Oh sure, yeah.
It was just like a 2-part series on TV.
Yeah.
It was one of those, kind of like the original It, just went right to TV.
It was like 2 nights. Yeah.
Yeah, this was like in early 2000s. But
You know what? I think I remember that.
Yeah, it was
I
scary.
can't remember who played him. It was like Noah Wiley or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, but no, that was I remember seeing that, and my parents didn't let me watch that.
yeah. So this whole movie was just a gradual, one scene after another, just kind of build up suspense, and then when he finally flips out, loses it,
yeah.
is when he starts slowly walking up the stairs with the bat, and he's like, I'm not gonna hurt you.
Right. Oh yeah.
Oh no, she's got the bat.
Mhm.
And I was like, I love that scene. I've seen like that was another one that we got created into a meme that went
Yeah.
viral for whatever reason. But that's when it really starts getting crazy.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's I like the fact too. What I shouldn't say I like it, but it's like it's I guess it's because it's difficult to understand. But they lock him in that after she knocks him out, they lock him in
the freezer.
In the freezer. How does he get out? He gets out by the ghosts. I guess the ghost lets him out. The butler.
I totally forget. Actually,
Yeah, I
remember
think he
that.
does, and I just didn't. To me, I guess that was the only piece where I'm like, all right, it's got to be Ghost then, because how else
No,
is he
I
getting
think
out?
she eventually open the door and let him out?
No, because then she started to go. They wanted to
Yeah.
go into like that snowmobile.
Well, a big storm was coming in, so
Yeah.
this is we're starting to reach the climax here. They're not going to be able to get out.
Well, the other thing, and we forgot about this part, but it's the maze, right? Before the snow. You know,
Oh, that's right.
have you ever been in a maze and you get lost?
Yeah, and in fact,
It's a very unsettling feeling.
we did the corn maze with the kids, like for right around Halloween time
Yeah.
or something. I was kind of like, yeah. I always just end up just kind of cutting through.
You got to.
Yeah.
Just go for the loud noises, right?
Yeah, and that was, I guess, resemblant of the actual hotel itself too. Everything was just you're kind of just trapped there. You can't
Yeah.
get out.
Yep.
But yeah, it was panic inducing. The
Even
whole
like
thing.
even when you're outside, you're still
Yeah.
trapped.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's what it was going for there.
And he was really trying to axe his family because he killed the groundskeeper guy with the axe. That was the first kill of the movie.
Oh, the Scat Man.
So there's a lot of like spooky stuff, but
Oh yeah.
wasn't a big kill count in the movie at all.
No, and I don't think
It was
that's
just
what it
one.
was. The intentions of it was. It was
Yeah.
just to show you that like
Yeah.
how people go crazy.
Yeah, and you don't need me personally. You don't even need a big kill count at all
No,
for a movie to be scary.
absolutely not.
So there was just, I know. Of course, it's the one black guy in the movie who gets killed, but he
Right.
was the groundskeeper.
Yeah.
It was
That
1980.
didn't age well.
No. But yeah, he got it right to the gut. I remember that really stuck out for me.
Well,
because he came around from the corner.
I thought he could maybe like tell that was.
Yeah,
gonna
if
happen.
you that's what annoyed me. I'm like, you can tell everything that's happening with this boy, but like you couldn't just see Jack right around the corner
right.
with an axe.
Yeah.
So this guy knew that there was something up with this hotel for years and never left. Because I think he stayed in his own little wing.
Yeah, and then didn't they also say that it was built over top of an Indian burial ground for the early like 1900s? I think
Yeah,
they mentioned.
there's always that twist to it.
Yeah. So apparently, Stephen King doesn't like this version. He hates it.
Really?
This is not how, he got very angry with Stanley Kubrick about how he took the novel and converted it over to it. I didn't pick up on any of the scenes that maybe that would have been questionable, but
Yeah.
they were in a big argument about that for a while.
Yeah.
And I don't really. Do you like Stanley Kubrick films? Like, do you know a lot of his films?
I couldn't tell you until you told me this was a Stanley Cooper film. You told me one other. I didn't really
Like
know.
Clockwork Orange, I think.
I never saw it.
Never saw it. And I
No.
saw Eyes Wide Shut. That was from the 90s with
Oh, I remember that. Tom Cruise.
But the same thing. And he has a way of making you feel like, uncomfortable. Or
It gives you a feeling
dirty.
throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that and I thought it was great, the whole red rum thing too. I think that was probably his little twist he put on there.
Yeah.
It took me years later to figure out it was murder backwards. I was like, what the hell does red rum mean?
Right.
But the boy himself, he did that voice thing. He talks like this.
That's right.
Yeah, so I don't think this kid's ever been in any other movie. This was,
No, I don't think so either.
This was the beginning and the end of his acting
And
career.
I read too that think about being a child actor. That's gotta be tough, right? You gotta go. Like you probably think you're gonna make it big all these years, and it's probably just so tough.
Oh wait, no, he was in one other. He was in one other horror movie. It was Sixth Sense many years later.
That was Haley Joel Osment.
Oh, I just thought he didn't age or something.
Well, actually, no, but there's facts on the fact that they didn't tell the little kid when they were filming it that it was a horror movie.
Yeah,
So
probably
he had
scary.
no idea.
Yeah, he didn't see the two little girls stand at the end of the hallway.
No.
He didn't see that blood come out.
No. That was all in his mind. That was all CGI back then, right?
Yeah, it is weird when you see movies where like babies or like little kids are actually crying.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are they?
What are they doing to make them
Yeah,
scream like that?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, especially a real baby crying in a movie. It's kind of like they're just like messing with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it always takes me back to the scene in the breakfast scene in Halloween, Rob Zombie's version. And it's just pure. Like, just anyone listening,
Talk
just,
about tense.
anyone listening, just type in on YouTube like Halloween Rob Zombie breakfast scene.
And
It's-
then most people hate that version.
They-
People
they
will
do.
watch it, but I'm like, I thought that was, from the very beginning, it was just complete chaos.
It is.
It was really what was his family in The Shining was. Like, you just knew it was going to get to that point.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what's worse, just that quiet tension. Like, oh my god, just say something. What's up, or something like that.
Yeah, just-
but it just like from scene one of this movie, you just felt like, there's too much tension here. Something's not
You
right.
can't start your morning like that.
No.
But that's and the reason I think we bring that up is just it's the 180 from what this movie is. There's tension from if it didn't have sound probably or music, it wouldn't be as tense of a movie.
No, it would, like most movies. If you took away Jaws,
It's just not what it is.
doesn't do it.
So that's a good thing about this movie. It's got a very frightening
Suspenseful.
soundtrack. Suspenseful.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need words. It's just sounds. And
Yeah.
that's what's going on in his mind. So you do wonder, with mental health issues.
Yeah.
They always say that it runs in the family. Is that this kid talking to himself? Is
I
that the early
think
onset of a
schizophrenia?
mental, just like maybe Jack Nicholson's character?
I think
has?
so. I think it's schizophrenia and obviously alcoholism was with that, but I think that was just a way just to make the demons quiet,
Right.
something like that. So I think that's. But people were murdered at that hotel apparently, unless it was all in his head or something. So
That's what I can't figure out.
yeah,
It might have just all
but I like
been-
the mystery. I don't need an answer.
Yeah.
Exactly to it.
And I like that there's no sequel to this movie.
No.
It doesn't. It just this is how it is. And
Mhm.
once we walk through how the ending goes, but it's just it leaves you there, and it's. I think that's kind of the way it's strange because once the winter's over in that movie, think about it. Like they would find him just frozen,
Thawed.
and then it would just probably the same thing would happen again. They thought, oh, there's no way that this is just a.
They did and spoiler alert, the wife and the kid did get out of there, but Jack Nicholson froze to death, and that's always another meme that you always see. Which, if you haven't seen it, it's just him frozen with like icicles on his face.
Yeah.
He couldn't get out of the maze. He was trapped.
That was actually
And
pretty
I think the reference is he was literally just trapped in his own mind, so he couldn't get out of that maze and just froze to death.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Couldn't get out of his own way.
Yeah, and I think I always remember as a kid when I would watch if I ever saw that scene. Let's say it was on TV and I flipped through it by accident. It's always kind of it's like an anticlimactic ending. It's not
Yeah.
like you don't like the kid kind of tricks him, but you don't think he's gonna do that. It's just kind of just dies. That's just I think that's what makes it a little bit more real too. It's like he didn't freeze to death and thaw and then come back. It's almost like no, he was a guy, a real person.
Yeah.
Who was seeing things, potentially being schizophrenic.
Yeah.
And he went nuts.
I wonder if that room exists. We gotta
I don't know.
we gotta look into this.
It
Yeah,
might.
the one like, would you stay in that room?
No.
There's gotta be some weird super fan who
I'm
would
not
come
that I'm not that crazy,
No.
It's but everyone has that I think affect them at some point. Typically in the winter, it's like it's the winter blues, right? It's just that.
Yeah.
But he was in
in.
that.
He's going crazy.
He was in that all day, every day. No one to help, no one to talk to.
He talked to the bartender, the ghost bartender.
The ghost bartender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's bad when you're talking to a ghost bartender.
Yeah, I know. Who would be like your ideal ghost bartender? Like
Besides that guy?
well, yeah. There's a dead celebrity that you know. Who's your?
Well, I like the bartender in the Howlin' 7. He was pretty cool.
That's true. I think he's probably still alive though.
Yeah, half that cast is. I don't know, but if I'm gonna talk to a ghost bartender, it's gonna be one at a high end, big oak bar like that.
Yeah.
It was just quick 1-word answer she was giving to him. Certainly, sir.
Yeah.
Just like that.
You know, that would be scary too. I thought about it too, but you have this big mansion and this crazy person with an axe coming after you. You got a million places to hide, but you always have that in the back of your mind that he still knows where you are.
Oh, roam in those halls.
Yeah, and that's the eerie part of it all. It's like, do you go left? Do you go right down this long hallway? And is he going to be right there? It's like, and you just know he's behind you somewhere.
And the lighting was just...
And he's limping too, right? So, because he had fallen down the stairs, I think, and that got him. And
he hit his head. He hit his head, limped. She hit him with the bat.
And you still think he's going to catch up to you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's frightening.
Yeah. If he never got out of that freezer, one way or other, he probably just would have froze to death anyway.
I guess. Or he just would have eaten food. I don't know. But
yeah.
So
but they got out. That was it. I mean, I think we pretty much just covered the
it does, like I said, it doesn't have arms. It doesn't have another sequel or an origin story, which I'm so thankful for, honestly.
Yeah, I just like to interpret the way I did.
Correct, and I do too. And
it's one of those movies, if it's on like AMC, like around that time of year, definitely go see it. In fact, I saw it. They were playing at the Newtown Theater a couple years ago.
Were they really?
Yeah, it was me, Tom, and Bob went. And I was kind of like, it was cool to see it on the big theater.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. We had done that for. We went and saw the original Halloween at a Regal. That was okay. I think it was almost like too big of a venue for the turnout. And then we saw out in Phoenixville, PA. We saw they did Jason Lives. And it was like these two super fans that did that. And they put it on, and it was like the old. It almost reminds you of the Newtown Theater, but it's
that's the only way you're gonna get me to a movie theater.
Yeah,
if it's that close and it's at the Newtown Theater, that's it. But it was different. It was cool to see it on the big screen like that.
Yeah,
some parts didn't hold up well.
So if you break out, our way too spooky meter,
we got to dust that bad boy off, don't we?
Yeah, we do. So
I was just learning how to properly grade these movies.
I'm gonna go very slowly with you because I think I kind of forget too. Right, so we're gonna start from the bottom up. Yeah. Spookless is an absolute dud. We know this isn't in that. It isn't a spookless dud.
No, not at all.
Then there's not too spooky.
Right.
Spooky, and then way too spooky. That's the cream of the crop, you know?
Yeah.
So where would you rate this movie?
I think I have to for Hot One right out of first one of the year we're doing it. It's only the second time I've given this rating. I'm not jumping at this movie anymore, but I think it's just so iconic and it was so well done.
Yep.
I gotta give it a way too spooky.
I have to say, with all that, I never liked this movie growing up. And I think it's because
you shouldn't. Because kids shouldn't like this movie.
No, right. Yeah, that's.
I mean, I remember it gave me a feel when I was.
That's
a kid.
A great point, actually. So I never gave.
Can we watch The Shining again, Daddy?
That's right. Oh, just a Sunday matinee.
No, I want to see the part with the little girls.
Yeah, right.
Those dead little girls and that old lady.
I would give this a way too spooky as well.
It's gotta be.
Yeah.
I mean, I just feel like you would do so much injustice not giving it.
Is it my favorite horror movie?
No.
Not by a long shot. Is it a great horror movie? I think so.
It stands alone.
It does.
And I put it in the class of just winter isolation.
Don't watch this anytime after like February 28th.
No.
Until January 1st. That's your window. Your small window. January 1st to February 28th.
There's only two good winter movies. It's Groundhog's Day, which is not horror, but it's great.
Right.
And The Shining. And The Revenant. There's just three. There's three movies you could watch in the dead of winter.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. It's a shame we didn't get any snow this year in the Bucks County area.
It's not over yet.
It's not over yet.
We'll probably get a March one right around Leprechaun time.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
We have to pay homage.
Yeah. I think I bought the DVD for the Leprechaun.
To the greatest St. Patrick's Day movie ever.
There's so many rhymes and like Leprechaun like.
We'll get into that.
Yeah.
But it was nice for this movie. You mentioned it was 1980. Big year for the Phillies. Big year for this.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're just still heartbroken Philly fans over here, guys.
Phillies lost and the Eagles lost.
Yeah, it is what it is. So we watched The Shining and we cheered up.
Yeah.
It was all good. No, but that was good. I'm glad we're back. We'll be back next month.
Yeah, I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their winter. Stay warm somehow.
And go watch The Shining.
Don't go too crazy and watch. Actually, no, go crazy.
Yeah.
Watch The Shining.
Be like Jack.
All right.
All right. I'll see you guys.
Take care.
Later.
Bye.